Oh, I'm ready. I'm on. Ooh, dealing with this daggone program. I'm 46. Okay. I have multiple devices. There's no reason that I should because I don't know how to operate any of them. I literally did a 26-minute recording with my mic muted. Hello. That's your first introduction to Gasoline Rainbow. So, welcome to episode one, two, and three, because all of those are going to be a hot mess, but we're going to do what we do. But yes, I am using this episode as an introduction to not just me, but what Gasoline Rainbows is and what it means to me and how we'll move forward in this journey. Whether I'm low crawling or skipping up to Mount Everest, we're heading down towards my passion. Now, if I haven't mentioned already that there's a disclaimer because my memory, I mean, at this point, I'm pretty tired. I did just take my meds, but I mean, macaroni and cheese with bacon, French toast with bacon, and scrambled eggs back to back. I don't remember the last thing I said, so let's just say there's always a disclaimer. That is for two reasons. Yes, the disclaimer is that there's always a disclaimer, but it's also important to note two things. Gasoline Rainbows is my business, but don't get it twisted. It's an LLC. That's limited liability. So if I have to drop on you 50 disclaimers, 50 pre warnings, take them. That's a gift. Okay. Just, it'll unfold over the next three. Just buckle in. Buckle in, my lovelies. But also, it's because I I've had to drop a pitch. I'm talking about so as a business, LLC, that's limited liability. Entering into TV is just not where we were going in the beginning. And then it was explained to me like, ooh, independent, but also, ooh, FCC. Just want y'all to know you cannot just put something in parentheses, okay, and say you're not held liable. Doesn't work that way, but hey, I'm just I gotta do what I can. It's a receipt to me. That's what that is. That's proof. At least I acknowledge that. And I just want y'all to know that before you get into this, the purr and the drama and the beauty and the movement, um, that y'all not gonna get me in trouble saying or doing or being anything. Okay. Okay, so per and if this introduction sounds like a pitch, that's because it practically is. When I tell you I'm pitching, I'm out here, I'm showing up, I'm crawling and sometimes skipping up Mount Everest, but I need y'all to know that at this point, especially after hearing no as many times as I have, um, I could go to the pharmacy and they could be like, who are you picking up from? Name, please. And I'm gonna hit them with the, oh, my name's Ayana Barnes. I'm a 46-year-old, yes, per disabled retired veteran. I am neurodivergent. I have 100% disability rating. 50% of that is just for one of my neurodivergent diagnoses. I am the mom of six plus. Uh, I have a husband who both he and I were in boots as we were raising these six plus children. And Gasoline Rainbows, which some people are like, what is it? It's a business first, and we branched out, and by we, me, self funded. with the support of my family, if they, you know, they're not helping me in these events, it wouldn't happen. But no, I'm the only legal employee. Um, but yeah, Gasoline Rainbows, an extension of what I do, is rooted in this very truth. And the question everybody asks is, what's Gasoline Rainbow? And here we are. So, it's important for you to know a few things. One, I have no memory in time of my life where I didn't know how to read. I know it's for one, rooted in unspeakable trauma, and true, true. Two is what I meant to say. Hey, do y'all do the editing for me? Because I really want a nap. So just fix the words I say out loud. I don't know who's going to take this episode and do magical things with it. So just, you know, do a little cut. Please help me. But yeah, two was the environment. I lived my entire first 7 years of my life. And to some extension, my entire life, I've been surrounded by books. But when I was growing up in a little town in the North Bay called Vallejo, in that little beautiful bubble of Americana, um, that was, you know, uh, what my grandparents provided me, my brother, my sister, my mom, under crazy circumstances. But yeah, almost a perfect life. But um, I, being 46, born in 79, per, um, I was reading and books were everywhere. So lived in a neighborhood where we didn't have central AC and heating. You had like a heater on the both sides, and you could see the flame underneath. But in the summer months, you leave the front door open and just you can do that little closing of the screen door, which is wild, by the way, because the Zodiac killer hadn't been caught. We know that he struck there, and that's a whole nother story, probably episodes down. But yeah, we acted like California at the 70s and 80s didn't have a whole range of daggone serial killers, and the one that was never caught just was, tiptoeing around that little small town. But yeah, we lived a very safe life. Um, and so my grandmother loves my mother too. She was a reader. My grandmother, we had that little closet, like an entryway or your coat. I don't know what we call it because I use ours for like light bulbs and tools, but where you typically would hang up your coats or whatever. We had books that stacked so high that we had that little mail chute, and the mailman would like put, the mail in that he couldn't. So he had to knock on our screen door, and they were falling out of any space, including my grandpa's man cave. And he had a man cave when that wasn't even what it was called. So read a lot. Um, and that's important to know. Now, again, neurodivergent. Okay, so I have multi layers of my life, and those multi layers are marked by tiny little pivots. Fast forward to 5. Why did I do that? That was weird. Carbs, maybe? But I didn't realize that at 5, you would typically come home from like pre-K or kinder or whichever, um, and share what you drew that day, and told them how fun it was to play on the playground. No, no, no. At 5, I was coming home, and what you learned today, and this is what you're gonna learn about politics. So, grew up rooted in, you know, political history, politics, government. My grandmother, Josephine, is an entire encyclopedia. She's not an episode, okay? She is a Marvel Universe type character. That's a whole nother day. This is just episode one, y'all. Dig in. Um, but yeah, we would talk politics. Fast forward on to about when I was 8 or 9. And I found myself fascinated in the crimes committed by both uh, John Hinckley Jr. and Mark David Chapman. Um, one having assassinated John Lennon, and the other attempted to assassinate Ronald Reagan. And why I knew that was for all the things I just said before. But I was fascinated by why the book, The Catcher in the Rye, was, what motivated them. Why has this banned book that rests behind me, which is a few other banned books? I have hundreds of them. So 8, 9, I read The Catcher in the Rye because I wanted to see what was it that was so fascinating, and how it influenced these crimes, these high-profile crimes. Um, and so within The Catcher in the Rye, I remember reading Gasoline Rainbows. It was about how oil and water mix. And that was the first time in my life that I realized that I use words and see words as pictures. And that's how I communicate. So words translate into pictures. And my entire life up into building Gasoline Rainbows is rooted in a very infamous banned book called The Catcher in the Rye. One person knew, by the way. I just wasn't going to spill that tea, and I sure didn't think I was going to be creating a TV show. So, what is Gasoline Rainbows? Gasoline Rainbows started off with a multi-sensory space infrastructure in communities. It was a simple brick and mortar that I was attempting to renovate, and providing access to those with limited resources and not possessing the ability to go outside of their communities. And I've always been aware of that. Um, Almost 18 years serving, 17 and some change. My last duty station was here in San Antonio when I was a recruiter, and there was no greater, just blaring juxtaposition of wealth or, financial statuses in communities, just all of the bad isms. Okay, right when I'm doing a recording. Okay. Can y'all cut that too? I ain't got the time. I really want to nap. But yeah, I had this dream. I would drive down and see this empty shopping strip and always think, oh, I would love to be there and be able to provide these resources. Because I am a proud veteran, and I also had the most amazing opportunity to serve as a veteran intern for a nonprofit that serves the very communities that I, am a part of, called Soldiers Angels here in San Antonio. And if you haven't heard of them, look them up. They're doing what they got to do. They have been, and it was my healing space. It was my magic. But health deteriorated, trauma, and just lack of resources, not realizing that my neurodivergence could be an issue to others. I don't know why that was so late in life, but it's probably the same reason why it took me so long to even launch Gasoline Rainbow, like 89 days after it didn't. I mean, it is what it is. It's part of that neurodivergence. But the point of all that is, um, I was hoping to build in a community and then eventually be able to spread out. And through circumstances, could no longer renovate that brick and mortar, and so restructured it as a mobile multi-sensory experience where you can either rent the equipment or I can throw the event for you. But also just as a way to, I'm pretty good at some whimsy. I started creating these events, game show like events, headed that way just out of saying, always got to expand. My mind is always thinking of some really crazy things. And so, yes, right now I have four signature events, and they are wildly customizable, and just the scalability is bananas. And so, what is Gasoline Rainbows in terms of E360? Well, it is where not only we're playing those game shows at a limited until I can get up to like 7 episodes a week with 56. I mean, come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come through for me. Um, just each episode will be a snippets of the game show. Um, I'll have guests sometimes, but it's meant to be interactive. So those who watch the channel, those who respond, over the spectrum, I am including all four of those events. Also, as an opportunity to bring awareness, either for the guest or just so many of the organizations or nonprofits or cultural communities, and just bringing to light those that, are often discarded, underfunded, um, forgotten, marginalized, excluded, um, and building on it. Because ultimately, even with all the purr, and when I say purr, I'm PURR, it's like one of the things, especially, this is going to be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting 3 episodes. We getting there though. I'm giving y'all a setup. But no, playing games, we're stepping up, talking commentary, not just pop culture, but of all the things. I'm from my little perspective. I mean, my mind does a lot of different things at the same time. And so I'm very observant. So we're talking about shows, events, miniature interactive game shows, unless somebody sitting here in my flex space, also known as my master bedroom, studio, work, office, and Home Depot slash Michael Hobby Lobby esque space over here to my right. Very IKEA serving. Very. Um, But yeah, so we'll be playing the games. You'll learn more about me. We'll be able to share playing the games. Now, listen, I think I may or may not have mentioned about my hangry tiers. Hangry, hungry and angry. If I am full, you are getting me at pure love and light, like, you know, high vibrations. If I'm at hangry level 2, I'm a little bit more like, you know, am I going to eat soon? I just need to know, like, I'm hanging on. I'm not, I'm not there yet. I'm hanging on, but that could change. Without carbs, you'll know because there was a point when I was losing my vision a couple months ago and was spazzing because they told me to leave my phone and stuff behind, and it took 800 years. And then I asked them to feed me, and they're like, "No, we can't feed you. This is the hospital. I'm in the ER." And they're like, "No, we can't feed you." I was like, "Y'all fed me before." It's like, "Because you were a patient." I'm like, "Well, you told me to leave my stuff. I could have had, you know, a Lunchable when I got back. Didn't. It was crazy." And then hangry level 3 is both me just being over it and also needing butter, carbs, gravy, crackers. I'm not I'm picky in terms of I eat the same thing every day in, day out until I get sick of it. Another tick for me. So yeah. Uh, or or we're addressing the real life issues we are facing, not just here in state of Texas, this country, but globally on a global scale. If I come in, mm, sometimes I can serve a little, petit couture or make it an entire petty wop production. You're getting me where you're meeting me, but with good intention. Here's why. As someone who gives mom hugs, I'm also I can serve the mean auntie energy because I'm not a fan of a bully, and I make sure that we get that addressed. But there's always someone, even me, 46 years old, taking all the tools of my life to create gasoline rainbows because it, for me, was the infrastructure required for sustainment. The tools I needed to be successful, but I know what it's like and still face those who don't want you at the table or are trying to, take away your voice. And so it requires advocates and activists, um, allies. It takes those who are willing to step up and be the voice for those who haven't found them. So radically inclusive for all who feel like. But it does matter at what level you meet me at in terms of both hungry and behavior. So you'll catch me at like 10123. Or if you're working hard for that certificate of achievement with a gold star on my signature, I'll take it to you at 3 per. Ooh. 1 minute, y'all. Am I back? Last thing. We started, and I mean community. Hashtag each breath forward. It's important that you um, know what it means, the passion behind it, because it is one of those pillars that helps me in terms of building what I hope can, contribute back into those people within these ecosystems that need the resources. I know what it's like to be at your very lowest point. I can't express enough, not in the first episode, but I believe that if we are aware every time we exhale that carbon dioxide, that is a moment of the past. That breath is the past. If you are rooted, if you're aware of that current breath, even if it's 5 or 6 or more breaths after that you realize you're rooted into it, that in your darkest days, if the only thing you can do to show up is breathe, then that's a victory. And so each breath forward is possibility, vulnerability, scary. It could be all things, but let it be what sustains you. Live fully until there's no breath left. So, thank you. I'm Ayana Barnes. You have reached Gasoline Rainbowz presents Ramblings of a Right Brain Libra. Uh, just parentheses, small font, two little stars on both sides, mostly unsupervised, but nobody told them to give me a mic. Just may have been a bad choice on somebody. It ain't gonna be me though. So, my lovelies, thank you for clocking the first episode, and see you episode 2.